Hello and welcome to Security Scan. I am Vishal Dahiya, and this week we will take a look at India's main battle tank, Arjun Mark II. One of the highlights of this year's massive arms expo, DEF Expo, was indigenously developed main battle tank Arjun Mark II. This 68-ton tank is an upgraded version of Arjun Mark I, which entered services in 2011. Shortly after the last batch of Arjun Mark I was delivered in 2011, Army requested for 93 specific improvements, such as its capability of firing anti-tank missile, laser protection suit, and improved armored protection for the vehicle. As per DRDO, the modifications have been made, and the new, improved version of Arjun Mark II now has many new features, such as advanced explosive reactive armor panels, mine flow, new fire control system coupled with thermal sights, automatic target tracking, and advanced land navigation systems. Arjun Mark II also has a better gun barrel with an equivalent firing charge of 500 rounds. Its weight, however, remained a point of contention between Army and DRDO for some time. So what are the salient features of Arjun Mark II which makes it a main battle tank and much better than its counterparts worldwide, and how will it strengthen the Army in its evolving land warfare doctrine? For more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests today. Let me start by introducing them to you, beginning with retired Lieutenant General Ashok Mehta, from a former commandant of Armored Corps Center and School. We also have with us Mr. Ravi Gupta, former Director Public Interface from DRDO. And we have with us Ajay Banerjee, the Defense Correspondent of the Tribune, somebody who has written a lot on Arjun Mark II and Mark I as well, and other weapon systems as well. Let me begin with you, General Mehta, and trying to understand for our viewers specifically, what is it that is much better in Arjun Mark II when we do a comparative analysis between Mark I and Mark II?
That basically is giving extra protection and giving a little more lethality to the gun system. Mm-hmm. These are the two basic differences from Arjun Mark I and Mark II. But giving additional protection means increase in weight. From 62.5 tons, it has gone up to 68 tons. Mm-hmm. And where would it be employed? I would say that would leave for the Army headquarters to think as to where all it can be employed. Mm-hmm. Other improvements are the very minor problems which were being created by Arjun Mark I. Those, I think, have been cleared by DRDO.
Okay, we'll take in the DRDO representative as well. But you've taken on the weight issue in the first question itself. Let me bring in Mr. Banerjee here before we go to the DRDO part. Mr. Banerjee, if you look at the development of this entire project, it started in 1974, the Arjun main battle tank project. Then we had Mark I being inducted in 2011, a lot of gap. And the moment it was done, the Army specifically asked for, almost 93 improvements. So why do you believe it might have taken that much long? And if it did take, then these kind of improvements which were asked for, how feasible was it for the DRDO to ensure that, this could have been done to ensure that it becomes a main battle tank?
See, there are multiple questions you've asked. First of all, 93 improvements. There is no fixed design of the Arjun so far. By fixed design, I mean we have to keep on improving on it. It is still an evolving process. The Mark I was inducted in 2011 after a series of trials by the DRDO and the Army, and we have 2 regiments placed in the desert sector. Mm-hmm. Now coming to the Mark II, these improvements, when you make improvements, specifically when they are metallurgical improvements, take some time to test, validate, and then induct. And all this validation process has to be done in hot weather, in cold weather, and in various war battle conditions, which will be in the deserts or elsewhere. And also, crucially, the test also is for transporting these tanks on tank transporters, which are wheeled vehicles, and also on train rakes. All this is part of the testing process. It takes a lot of time to test. So each system has to be tested, integrated, and then the test to be carried on. That is why the time has been taken, I believe so.
Okay, so that's the time part. Let me bring in Mr. Gupta here on both the issues. Mr. Gupta, if you look at it that way, The one which is about time and the other which is about the improvements. Obviously, it is an evolving process, as Mr. Banerjee pointed out. But one question which is being asked always from the DRDO, and specifically in this case, also it must have been asked a number of times, why did it take so much of time?
Well, if we are talking of Mark II, it has not taken any time. The Mark I was inducted after prolonged trials, almost a decade-long trials in 2010 and 11. The first regiment came in 2010, second came in 2011. Now, and that time we were expecting that the large-scale orders will flow in. Because any production to stabilize, you need at least 500 to 1,000 numbers to be produced. Then only the manufacturing gets stabilized. The back-end supply chain gets stabilized. But that didn't happen. At that time, we were told once again, if you take the old history, 72 till to 1994, almost 4 or 5 times the GSQ was revised. So it was a shifting goalpost. Anyway, that past is past. But once the Mark I was inducted, again a list of about 89 improvements were asked for. Out of these, 15 were major improvements. It required kind of a major design changes. So all these were, but time, yes, within 3 years, they were implemented. All these technologies, 89 technologies, they were individually and collectively demonstrated in 2 tanks. But then again, trial has taken quite a long time. I agree with Mr. Ajay Banerjee that trial, it has to be done under the real scenario, the war scenario. In the desert, that is the climate and the terrain where the system is required to function. So if you have to test it in summer, you have to wait for 1 more year. So all that has taken time. But then matter of fact is that the technologies, all these 89 improvements, and then later on 4 more were done. So 93 improvements, they were done almost in a matter of about 3 years.
Okay, and what would be the most important of them you would recall in terms of strengthening the entire structure as well as characteristic of Arjun tank is concerned from Mark I to Mark II?
Very true. As compared to Mark I, the major improvements included the protection level. Now let me tell, in a tank, armored vehicle, there are 3 major things. One is the protection, the mobility, and the firepower. Now all these things cannot be maximized. They have to be in optimum. So protection level of Mark II is significantly higher in terms of the armor, because you have added explosive reactive armor, and again it is the indigenous armor. So what are the explosive reactive armor? It stops, today Mark II can stop almost any weapon system. It is a protection against any weapon system existing in the world. What it does is that when the missile hits, the tandem warhead hits, the reactive explosive armor, which is a heavy steel plate containing explosives, it will explode. So the incoming missile gets deflected away. It's a very major improvement.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, weight will go up. After all, these are made of hard steel.
Okay.
Then similarly, the mobility part. Now the weight was going up, so you have to change the gear system. So the entire transmission line was redesigned, as a result of which the same engine, which is a German engine at the moment, is giving you the kind of mobility which is required. Similarly, the gunpowder, the firepower has enhanced. Now it has the capability to fire a missile as well. So that way, I would say the significant improvements have taken place.
Okay.
Laser protection system. Once again, it gives you 360 protection. There are 4 laser sensors which can tell if you are getting designated, and then you can take automatic corrective action. The integrated firefighting system. In case of any fire ranging within the tank, there is a system to which, within a milliseconds time, it detects the explosion of fire and takes the corrective action.
Okay, so these are important improvements out of those 93 which you were speaking about. Let me bring in General Mehta again here, and when we do a comparative analysis, as you pointed out earlier as well, between Mark 1 and Mark 2, one of the questions which were raised when Mark 1 was inducted after some time was the maintenance issue with Mark 1. That's one part. But if you look at the other operative part, that is the mission reliability of Mark 1. So how do you rate there, and what would be the expectations from Mark II in this particular segment?
You see, the biggest problem is, as far as mission reliability is concerned, that whenever the tank has to be used, it must be mission reliable for at least 500 kilometers. The spares, in case something goes wrong in those 500 kilometers, it should be able to be, repaired in situ. The logistic chain per se should not be very big. If some sub-assembly, if it is not made in India, if that has to be procured, the lead time to go back to the original equipment manufacturers abroad may range from anything from 18 months to 24 months. So the running spares for these vehicles, unless they are provided with the equipment, any equipment I would say, will fail in its mission.
Okay. So that's why you're saying that mission reliability is something which is the most important aspect here. But what about the weight part? Because that is something which now, as per the media reports, it is said that it is pretty much settled. But is 68 ton, which is a bit heavier than what Arjun Mark 1 was, is it okay? Is it acceptable? And will it work?
I really don't know, because you see, the first and foremost is, how do we want to employ our tanks operationally? Are they meant for the offensive tasks? Are they meant for the defensive tasks? We've had, since last a number of years, we've changed our mindset to an offensive form of war fighting. Can this tank be transported to its location where it is going to be launched? Whether by rail or by tank transporters? If it has to move cross-country over 50, 60 kilometers for its launch, can it move on its own power? If it is moved on its own power and or either by tank transporters, the weight classification of all the bridges en route are not matching. All the bridges have to be reinforced. So the weight per se is a big constraint for the movement, initial movement. Once it is launched, then the weight has got no meaning.
Okay.
But should you come into a canal configuration or a riverine configuration, whether this Arjun Mark II with its weight, where you launch some sort of your operational bridges, would they be able to take the load for it to go across? The trials, once it is, the answers to these questions would only come after the trials.
And then they would be really important as well.
Yes.
Let me bring in Mr. Gupta on these two aspects. Mr. Gupta, when it comes to Mark II, as General Mehta is pointing out, one is mission reliability, that is the maintenance part of it, and two, the weight itself. There are concerns, and they've been expressed time and again as well, although, as I was saying earlier, that right now it seems that the weight issue has been dealt with. But in both these terms, how is Mark II different from Mark I?
Well, there is no doubt Mark II is heavier than Mark I. It is about 68 tons, about the same weight as US Abrams there. So it is comparable to the tanks of other countries of similar class. So it is not that it is too heavy. Now coming to the transportation part, see, we have got an indigenously developed bridging system, which are all MLC 70 ton class. That means they are designed to carry a load of 70 tons plus. So once we are having those mobile bridges, I don't think there should be any problem as far as the transporting Arjun from one place to another place is concerned. Now, as regards the riverine kind of atmosphere or the climate or terrain, see, initially it was having about 1.4 meter, fording, that is the shallow fording. 1.4 meter means the tank can easily pass through 1.4 meter deep waters. Beyond that, now Mark II, it was asked that it should be higher. So medium fording about more than 2 meter, it has been provided, but for that you have to first prepare the tank for passing through such thing. So that way I don't think it is another aspect is that the ground pressure of the Mark II is much less than even T90, although it is much heavier. T90 is only 46 ton, whereas Mark II is about 68 ton. But if you compare the load which is falling on the ground per unit area, it is less. So where T90 can go, Arjun can also go.
Okay.
Now
So-
coming to the size of the tank, yes. See, initially it was required to have a 3-man system, but later on the requirement was raised to 4 person. Now Arjun is a 4-crew tank. We have got one loader, one driver, gunner,
And the commandant.
and commander. Now 4 people have to be inside the tank. So obviously the size will go up. But again, that is not a problem because its own carrier is designed for carrying Arjun across the country. Secondly, all our railway systems, the only problem had been the platform, some of the platform.
Okay.
So that is not a big issue.
Okay, not a big issue. But you pointed out the comparison between T90 and Mark II. We'll come to that a bit later. But right now, let me bring in, Mr. Banerjee on this aspect. Mr. Banerjee, you've seen this entire development closely from Mark I to Mark II. The question here is that given the kind of improvements which the Army sought, 93 of them, and which the DRDO says it has been done, and it makes the new improved Mark II a very better one. How will it add, heft, or strengthen the Army's, different units, the armored units? What is it that they will get, and what is it that will be much better than it was with the earlier version, that's Mark I?
See, the Army uses 3 types of tanks at the moment. The T-72, the T-90 imported from Russia. T-90 is made also at the Avadi factory in Tamil Nadu. The Arjun, how it adds, I will not go into the specifics of the operational part, but the biggest thing it adds is make in India. That is the biggest thing. Mark II is an improvement, and the country needs such improvements. If you have to sit in the global high table, you cannot be importing things like tanks, but you make nuclear submarines, but you import tanks. It's a dichotomy to me. So Arjun Mark II in that way helps the country as such grow as an industrial base, a manufacturing base. The issues of maintenance, the spares part, I think mostly have been taken care of as far as I learn, because we have tied up with some foreign manufacturers also who are doing that. Metallurgy has improved in the past 10 years drastically. We have made huge strides in metallurgy. For example, I'll give an example. The naval warships entirely are made of Indian steel. So Arjun's metallurgy, the steel part, that has been taken care of in India. When we talk of the ammunition part, that of course there is a thing which is coming in, which is also being taken care of. Whereas transportation is part where Gupta sir pointed out, the railway platforms only, there was a thing that the Arjun was, the rake was going outside the railway. It was at some platform. So that has been sorted out because it can go in the middle lane and there is a ramp to take it down anywhere. So Army has those things with it, and there are tank transporters specially available, which are 18 tire trucks or 20 tire trucks which carry these tanks across. That is one part. The second part is how does the Army use these? They, of course, will be used in certain battlefield conditions, which, of course, the Indian Army will decide where to use them. But these battlefield conditions exist, and our westernly part, I am especially from the western part, these battlefield conditions are simulated from the western part of our country, and these tanks will be used on those areas.
Okay, let's now look at the other part of it, and something which has been raised by Mr. Gupta as well, and you also spoke. That is T90 versus Arjun Mark II. T90 as of now is the mainstay as far as India's tank brigade is concerned. If you look at T90 versus Arjun Mark II, General Mehta, how do you compare, and what is it that we get better? Although Mr. Gupta has already pointed out, in terms of tonnage, in terms of weight, in terms of some other characteristics as well. But as somebody who has been part of the Armed Corps as well, how do you look at it? Is it much better than T90, or do we need to have some more improvements which might come alongside?
I don't think that you can have the same benchmark as far as T90 versus Arjun. There are 2 different configuration of tanks you cannot bring down to one level. Let's start with just the cost factor. Good about, I think, about 4 years back, T90 used to cost approximately, I think, about 16 crores, and Arjun Mark 1 was 23 crores. So there is no benchmark. Secondly, Arjun Mark 1 had over 60% of, equipment from foreign vendors. I hope in Arjun Mark 2 that has been brought down.
Okay.
Because to repair that, the EME has to be, good. The crews have to be able to repair that equipment. It should not be that, if something goes wrong, it has to go back to that country for repairs. So there are questions, unless the same thing has been trial evaluated in a much bigger way. 6 months of trial may be too lesser trials. Firing 100 rounds or 150 rounds may be too less. If it is said that the EFC of the barrel is 500 rounds, then at least 1,000 rounds must be fired from each of the Arjun Mark IIs. This, which was not done for Arjun Mark 1, and they're having a lot of problems. When you fire, there is scabbing, there is chipping of the barrels, still continuing. So I hope these points have been catered by the DRDO.
Okay, let's now jump to DRDO only to seek answers on these aspects. Specifically, the first one, which was pointed out by General Mehta, in terms of the amount of indigenization which has been done as far as Mark II is concerned. As Mr. Banerjee also pointed out, that the most important aspect of Mark II is that this is Make in India. To what extent?
See, I will put it this way. What do we call as indigenous? Indigenous is something for which, number one, your design is yours. Number two, it is designed for our own conditions, our own soldiers, their ergometric dimensions, our climate, hot desert or cold desert of Siberia. So if the design is ours, we have total control. If tomorrow some part supply is stopped, we can go to somebody else. Secondly, we must have control over the supply chain. I fully agree with General Saab that we must have control over the supply chain. Now, coming to the indigenous content, it is fairly high. The number of all these improvements which I told you, most of them are indigenous. The ERA is indigenous. The steel entirely is indigenously produced. The ammunition is indigenous. So most of the things are indigenous. Yes, the engine is German. It has to be. How many orders we have got so far? After the Arjun Mark I was tested for more than 70,000 kilometers and several thousand rounds being fired, only 124 have been ordered. Suppose you are, why today a Maruti 800 or Maruti Alto, you will find any part of the country, you will find the parts, because the numbers produced have been in lakhs and lakhs. So suppose Mark I had the order been placed for 1,000 tanks. Today everything, even the engine would have been produced within the country. Nobody is going to, do you tell me, is it economically viable to set up an engine manufacturing plant for just 200 tanks? It is not.
Okay.
So unless the commitment to number of orders is there, the full indigenization will not take place.
Okay. Mr. Banerjee?
See, this debate of indigenization, I'll tell you in one very simple manner. No country makes all equipment. For example, several European manufacturers who are in the race for the fighter jet program in the country do not produce engines of the same fighter jet. They import from some other country. But they are vying for an order in India and they are being considered. So every country does not make each part. It's impossible. Let us be very honest about it. Secondly, when we talk about the Arjun and the T90, General Saab is very, very right. There are two different classes of tanks. But 2009, if I remember correctly, there was a trial between the Arjun and the T90. And the Army's own report said that Arjun is a very good tank. Then, for the Mark I, and it should be inducted. 2009. It was inducted later. When we talk of indigenization, coming back to that aspect, please keep in mind that we are still learning the ropes of making this equipment. We cannot look back and say, ki humne ye nahi kiya types. We have to carry on forward. The only way is forward. Keep on improving, like the Tejas is improving. the Arjun will also improve.
Okay,
We have
but-
to take steps forward.
Okay, it will also improve. But is Arjun the best bet?
I would say so far, yes, because the reason is it is your own tank. You are producing here, everything is from your own country. You are not giving foreign exchange to the third country. Technology part, yes, there will be some things which you need to catch up. There will be some parts on maintenance. There will be some part that is not 100% indigenous. Well, no country has a 100% indigenous product as of today. Probably US probably makes some things of its own. Probably, yes, some of the European countries do it, but everybody does not make the entire thing. Israel doesn't make entire things of the missiles. So let us not say we should make it 100%. It cannot be possible in today's world.
Okay, let me put the same question to General Saab from an end user's perspective, General Saab. Is Arjun the best bet for the Indian Army, and has it arrived in the form of Arjun Mark II?
If you see the number of tanks of T-72s and T-90s, and when generally you compare the performance of Arjun Mark I would say T-90 and T-72s are a shade better than Arjun. There was a time when one of the regiments, the entire fleet of 45 tanks became off-road for want of batteries. Because the battery life was 4 years or 5 years, they all did that, and no
Okay.
tank could start.
Okay.
So when asked, what about the batteries? The batteries had to be brought all the way from Germany for 45 tanks. I only hope such problems are eradicated for an indigenization. And what is so great of a AHC of a battery? We should have standardized things between T-72, T-90 and Arjun.
Okay.
Especially as far as mobility is concerned. Fire control system, yes, you cannot have. But as far as mobility part is concerned, we should have similar sort of things. Similar equipment. You want to change, there will be no problems as far as the spares are concerned.
Okay.
So these sort of problems which are existing as of date, and like I told you, though a number of rounds have been fired from Arjun, till date, Arjun Mark I, the barrel still scabs, there is chipping in the barrel. They have sorted out the HESH round, but APFSDS is still creating problems.
So these are some questions which have already been answered to by the DRDO representative. But in terms of somebody who's been involved with the development, and DRDO is the developer, the same question which I asked Mr. Banerjee and General Mehta as well. Do you believe that Arjun has finally arrived and the Mark II version is something which would answer all those questions which are being raised or improvements being sought by the end user, that is the army, or being pointed out by General Mehta here as well?
Definitely, definitely. Arjun Mark II today is one of the best tanks in the world. As I said, it is comparable in terms of weight, in terms of protection, in terms of mobility, with among the best tanks in the world, whether you compare it with the Israeli tanks or American tanks, whatever it is. So as such, it is an excellent tank.
Okay.
Now, whatever problems which like the maintainability or the repairability and all that, these things will be solved once you have the sufficient number of orders.
Okay.
Once you make them in numbers, they will be indigenous country. Today, our industry is advanced to much beyond what people think about it.
Okay.
They can do everything. All these things, the battery, the whatever it is there, they can be produced. Yes, I agree, the standardization has to be there, but then what will happen? Do we go back to the design of T-72, which is almost 40-year-old tank? No, we have to keep forward.
Okay.
So we have to make the things which are contemporary.
Okay. So as our guests have pointed out, that it is an ever-evolving process, but with the Arjun Mark II being there, with all the improvements as has been sought by the army, it looks like that India has finally got its main battle tank, though it will much more depend upon what the demands of the end user, that is army, are, and how will they be met by the developer and the manufacturer, that is DRDO and its allies, in the future as well. We'll come back again next week with a different topic and a different set of guests. You can watch this episode on our YouTube channel as well. Keep watching Rajasabha Television.